Welcome to another splendid episode of Monday Movie Pickup. I own all the other DreamWorks movies, so it makes sense I have to add Puss in Boots: The Last Wish to my collection. And this is actually a version of the movie that comes with the art of Puss in Boots. So this is a nice booklet that contains much of the artwork from the film. This was one of my favorite movies last year, and very, very surprisingly great movie. Not that like a Puss in Boots movie couldn't be good, but it's just like for how good it was. I didn't expect that out of a sequel. I've never actually even seen the original Puss in Boots, just because there's never been an interest for me to get to it. I own it. After seeing the second one, I want to check out the other one, but I hear the spike in quality from the first movie to the second one is huge. The 1992 Dracula. This is from Francis Ford Coppola. This is the 4K release, just because if you buy the Blu-ray, the 4K and the Blu-ray on Amazon right now are around the same price, and I've heard that the 4K got a different transfer. So I'm not sure if that's the same for the Blu-ray. It's possible that they're using the old Blu-ray disc, but I had heard that the original Blu-ray transfer wasn't that great and that the 4K was a big jump. So I wanted to get the 4K edition, and I did watch the movie and I enjoyed it. You know, Dracula is... I watch a lot of different adaptations, but there's never been one that really stands out to me as like exceptionally great, you know, as a great movie without the Dracula stuff, you know, because like some people are looking for a good Dracula adaptation. You know, I've never read Dracula. Overall, all the different adaptations, the lore of Dracula can get very confusing. There's just nothing that's really ever stuck out to me as like, oh, I want to return to this Dracula adaptation. I've seen the Hammer stuff, seen the Universal stuff. I don't know. This movie, I feel like, was in the same category, except that I do know that this one sticks to the original source material a lot more than those other adaptations. And the movie visually is very pleasing, especially with all the different practical effects. Like, it is a very enjoyable movie. This one actually gave me a better understanding of what Dracula is, because to me, I'm like, I feel like Dracula's pretty weak. He could be strong, but he also has a lot of weaknesses, and I feel like this movie showcases both very well. And here are the Batman Unlimited movies. So this is Animal Instinct. There's also the other one, Monster Mayhem. And I actually own these movies on DVD. I never realized that this actually received a Blu-ray release. That was the first I've ever seen of it. Some of these movies I got from a half-price bookstore, and I saw these up there, and I'm like, are these legit? Like, they actually released these movies on Blu-ray? It was a big surprise to me, but I think the bigger surprise was that they released the first two on Blu-ray, but they did not release the final movie on Blu-ray. I've collected all of the Batman animated movies. I think there's a couple new ones I still need to get, but yeah, surprisingly, there were some Blu-rays that I apparently missed, but I'm not going to be able to get the third one on Blu-ray because it doesn't exist, so that means I actually have to keep this disc still. They put all three movies on one disc, and like I said, Mechs vs. Mutants, that is not on Blu-ray, so you can't get the final one on Blu-ray, so I still have to keep this DVD anyway. We have here Monty Python's The Meaning of Life, the only Monty Python movie that I have not seen. I believe there's only 3 of them. There might be some different compilation movies that they've released, but this is, of the 3, I think, theatrical original films that they made, this is the only one I haven't seen. Saw Life of Brian. I've seen Holy Grail many times. This Blu-ray is pretty cool, though, because they actually have like an exclusive special feature on here, a 30th anniversary reunion that they did. So there's actually quite a bit of bonus features on here, so that's pretty neat. I guess I didn't realize that this one even had a Blu-ray release because I've never really looked for it, but I saw it at the half-price bookstore, so now I can finally watch the Monty Python movie that I've been missing this entire time. Here is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So I saw this a few years ago. It is I like Shane Black's movies, and this is pretty good. I don't think it's as good as The Nice Guys, but it's still an entertaining movie and one that I'm gonna give it another watch. Here's another one I've seen many times. A Few Good Men. Have never owned the Blu-ray for whatever reason. I don't know if there's been a different release of this since this initial Blu-ray, because this looks like it's an older Sony release. So there might be a different one I have to look for out there that maybe has more special features or something, but this still has like a commentary and some different interviews, so it looks like there are special features on it. Here's one I haven't seen, Dreamgirls. I saw this release a few years ago and I thought it was a special edition or a limited edition set. Luckily it wasn't, so you know, at the time I was thinking of buying it just for that, but I passed on it, and then I kind of forgot about it, but found it at the half-price bookstore, so I made sure to get it. Again, this isn't a limited edition release. I just was confusing it at the time because it just looked like it could be a limited edition release. This actually comes with an extended edition of the movie. I've not seen either versions of the movie. If people in the comments know if the extended edition is better than the theatrical cut, let me know. Typically, when I haven't seen a movie before, I'll usually watch the theatrical cut, but I know sometimes the director's cut or the extended cut is the preferred cut, so if you know better than I do, let me know in the comments. We have here the Disney Signature Edition of The Little Mermaid, and I own the Diamond Edition Blu-ray, just never got to buying this version of it. And I don't even know if there's other special features on this release versus that other release. The cool thing about these Signature Editions were they would feature what they would call in Walt's words. It was special features that would have old audio of him. Sometimes I think they would add it as like an entire commentary to the movie. I think that's what they have with Bambi. And other editions, it's just a special feature, like a quick 20 minutes, just using old audio of Walt Disney talking about the making of the film. So clearly they don't have that for The Little Mermaid because, you know, this is a newer movie. Walt Disney had nothing to do with this one, and yet it's part of the Disney signature line. So that's kind of a curiosity as to why they decided to call the line the Disney signature line, even though a lot of these movies Disney himself had nothing to do with. But there is something on here featuring Alan Menken, some of the voice actors, so possibly these are different from the other special features on the Diamond Edition. Streets of Fire, so this was also at half-price books, and just another Shout Select edition that, this is actually 2 discs, so that's pretty neat. And I've passed up on this one every time I've seen it on the Shout Select sales, so I've never gotten to buying this one. It would be cool to get every single Shout Select at some point, so I've been sort of working towards that, slow but steady, and this was the 16th release, and it came with the slipcover even, at half-price books, so that was pretty awesome. Here is the Civil War documentary by Ken Burns that aired on PBS. So I own the World at War documentary, you know, which is about World War II. I've been trying to get some of these documentaries just to learn a little more of the history from the best source that I could possibly get without having to read something, I guess. So these documentaries are pretty much the next best bet versus just reading the book. This was a very random buy, but I found this at Menards. Menards still has physical media. They have a lot of stuff from Mill Creek, and often they'll have Blu-rays. And this is the Randolph Scott collection. Had no idea who the actor was, but some of the movies I have heard about before, if you look on the back here. The Nevadan, Santa Fe, The Desperados, Buchanan Rides Again, Comanche Station. I have heard of some of these movies, and to get 12 different movies in one set I think is really cool, and Mill Creek really took their time to make this set like as cool as possible. So Mill Creek, you know, I gotta say they have become one of the better companies in the last 10 years. They started out with the cheap, mostly public domain horror box sets, and they've come a long way since then. Now they're doing all these cool Blu-ray releases, and these ones are specifically from Columbia Pictures. Columbia has a deal with Mill Creek to release a lot of their older movies on Blu-ray, or some re-releases even of long out-of-print Blu-rays from back when Blu-ray first started. And this set, just because it came with 12 movies and it was $10, I'm like, that's a great deal for a lot of old-school Western movies. So Randolph Scott, I mean, it says on the back he was like, you know, a Hollywood legend. Not a Hollywood legend that I'm aware of, but that's usually the best way to learn about these movies, is to do a random buy and see what happens. Well, that is everything this week, and I don't think I have anything for next week, so it may be a while. We'll see. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Lauren, Anthony, Anna, Kirsten, Spencer, Lucas, Ryan, and Robert for the support on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you can get exclusive videos and blogs, and for only $7, you can request your own movie review. I hope you stick around, Cinephile, and have a happy, productive day.